Well, howdy there, YouTube friends. This is Bob with Locksmith Tips, and we're gonna go over this lock here, Harloc, and it's kind of I got a little light. Hopefully you can see okay. It is made by Harloc, Harlock, and I'm just gonna show you. I have a book, and it does cover Harloc also, but it's not spelled the same. And design-wise, I don't really see it as being the same. What they show in the book. I mean, this is, it is what it is. Maybe it's the same, maybe it's not, but I don't even have it in my HPC, this old thing here. And this lock is from 1988. I know that, as it says on the package. And this was HPC Depth and Space. And you can find this on eBay. They have several versions. You want to make sure you get the residential or the automotive. This kind of has both. But anyway, so if you go into this book here, it does kind of cover some Harloc, but it is, there are some things about it that it's not really, this shows some different things than what I have in this lock here. And of course, some of it's similar. That's a 700 series. It might be, Robert Steve King, he, I don't know where he gets his information. Some of it he talks about in here where it's his own measurements. But for the most part, I mean, this one here has Schlage keyway, it's SC1 anyway, for that matter. And so we'll look at this here. It doesn't say Schlage, but it is SC1. And there's your bidding. And they consider this one here a commercial, which for me, it is a better quality than your usual. This is a cylindrical lock, not a tubular. We talked about it yesterday. Some of these are cylindrical, and these are the better locks to get, is the type with the cylindrical setup in here. Tubulars, a lot of Kwikset. There are a lot of cheap brands, your Chinese brands. I'm not saying all Kwikset's bad. I'm just saying, the internal components, they put it. That's why we always replace this part on a Kwikset, is because it is a tubular, and that fails more often. Where cylindrical, you got two different spring pressers working with you right here. You got the spring inside here, and then you got this right here, and that all kind of works together as a system. Anyways, and that's how that would fit together right there. So, and it's locked right there. But this is a pretty robust feeling lock. I kind of like it. And what's weird is, this piece broke out, during shipping, but it has do-it-yourself instant key change feature. I don't really know what they're talking about inside there, but because your Harloc 6900 lock set comes with two sets of keys marked number 1 and 2. Be sure to use key number 1. If you lose key number 1 or wish to change your lock combination, you simply insert key number 2 in the lock and turn clockwise. This changes your tumblers. Key number 1 will no longer operate the lock after key number 2 has been used. Harlocs do-yourself instant. So it's kind of like, the PK balls we use, and some of them. So we're going to take it apart. We're going to take a look. And it's my first time having this apart, so you're going through with me. So if you went to a lock job, this is what you're going to be coming up on. I've not had the cylinder out of this. And so here's your deadlocking latch for great security. Deadlocking latch means this pin right here, and you want to make sure that can't go in. And there's your spelling, Harloc, and same with the box. You got the directions right here. We'll put that up here so you can see this. So there's your Harloc directions. I can try to blow it up on here later, but there's nothing really much to see. If you're getting into this, it's gonna kind of feel like a standard Schlage key to me, or Schlage lock to me. So when you get to this, and I thought, well, I'll play with those keys on here and see what happens when you do that. So here's your extra keys, and I've tried this and it didn't do anything. So, and then we just pulled that off. So we'll set that there. That come with this also. Little tarnish, just from 1988. This here, and so when you get this part, and someone asked, what is this tool? This came from. We used to have a nut splitter, where you have like your mixed nuts, walnuts, pecans, and all that. This came with one of those kits where it's a nutcracker. Anyways, and I don't know why I like it. It's not really likely to poke you, too bad, where there is one end on here that's kind of rough. It's funny, the tools we find to do stuff, and a lot of times we use this too. the pickle fork. I don't know why I call it pickle fork. The fork tool. And what does that say on there? It says just Kwikset cylinder removal tool. Anyway, so with this, like Schleg, you're not gonna be able to push in that retaining pin, and it doesn't even pop out on there. And so we'll turn this a little bit here, and I believe it's just like most Schleg. You put your key in there, kind of put a little side pressure on there, and then once you push that in, you can pull that knob off. And I think it almost come out just like that. Let me see if I can do this with one hand. Kind of hard to do with one hand, and it's a little bit of pressure in there popped in, and so it's coming out now. So let me see if I can get that out of there on camera. It is starting to come out pretty tight. This does feel like a heavier knob too. So let me see if I can push that button in. And it's hard to do with one hand on the camera. I'm trying to do this on camera too. So I'm going to sit right there. Okay, so I pushed it and it slid off. There must be a certain point where it comes off. So anyways, and it's your typical inside piece here, and this usually comes off. That's just like most Schleg will do. And this here, this is the, danger, don't get your cylinder lost in there. And I don't think it's got enough room to do that. Sometimes you'll find them where your cylinder will get lost inside here. Didn't feel like you got the room. I'm not even going to try it. I don't want to do that. But the thing is, and I probably got pretty close to doing that actually. Okay, so that's kind of like a Schleg. It is this feels heavier than your standard Schleg to me. It's too bad they don't make these anymore. Now, what I know of the history is Arrow bought into this company, Harloc, and they discontinued the patent. I'll see if I can put some information up on there. So let's see what's going on here. So it's the first time it's ever been apart. So, and it's just got your standard E-clip right there. And so when you put your keys in, you turn it, and it feels really tight. Sorry about that. It knocked the camera over. So this feels really tight with the grease in there. So these are supposed to be key number 1s, key number 2s. I don't feel like there's anything in there. If there is, maybe the grease is done wore out, it's stuck. But anyways, yeah, maybe the package was actually broke open and they'd already done it. And one set of keys is the correct one and the other is no longer used. So let me put this down here where I can get a little bit of leverage on this thing. I'm going to use this. See if I can push it down. Okay, and that popped right out. And so there's that. And that's the other thing. This only goes on one way. So at least you don't have to worry about that. Sometimes you kind of don't know if it's supposed to go one way or the other when you have the security nuts on there. So this is actually pretty decent right there. And so I'll get a good look at that. So I got a little flashlight underneath my GoPro. This is my GoPro. Hopefully my volume's coming through better. And so with this, you could slide this off. I don't know if I do that. Sometimes they're hard to get back on. I don't know what's inside here. So let me figure out what we got for a follower here. We will actually use this one so we can follow out the pins. Let me see where my camera's seeing here. And I like this here. So this should be standard SC1 info here. So now, and I noticed you don't want to have it like this when you try to follow it out because that notch will let everything fall out. So you go at an angle. But this here, I'm going to have it straight up and down. So, and try not to dump all your stuff here. So this is a 6-pin, but they pinned it up for 5. Interesting. And so I don't really know why this key situation is. Let's take a look here. We'll just put these pins out here. I got a little bit of a mess. See if I can see what's going on here. Pull the key out. Actually, you can see some of the pins. They kind of look like a master lock will have pins like that. And it is one pin. I don't know what the. I wonder. I bet it's maybe you snap it kind of like they have some masters that do that where they put the other key in. You gotta snap it real hard. I bet that's what it is. Interesting. That is very interesting. So let me pop that out. I'll put it right there in a bad spot. Let me do this. Try not to make this video too long, but this is Harloc, and you kind of want to know. There's that. I bet it snaps. Kind of like I think it is a master that does that, where you can put the key in, and you snap it real hard, and then you change the bitting of it. I think that's the one. I don't remember what that model number is. But that's it. There, and that's a small one. So let me see what my camera's looking at here. So, all right, and I'll see if I can blow in on some of these. So that is interesting. If you can see that, there's a ridge right on that thing, right at the top there. So we will, we're going to go ahead and dump some of these top pins here. Let's see what we got here. And so, and that's the other thing. You want to make sure you know which direction you're going on your plug, because this would be the front. You know, I'm going to mark that right there. You want to know which one's your front, because a lot of times people will do this, they'll get it backwards, and it won't work the right way. And it's no big deal. You just reverse it if you have to. All right, so that looks like a standard top pin spring. Let's see what we got. No, I think they're all just standard top pin springs. I bet those pins snap, you know, where you have to snap them in. And that's what I love about this. You got the groove. And I thought about some of my followers putting that file in the groove on there. And then you can just pop that in. It's pretty gummy, so the springs didn't even pop out. So anyways, that's the front. So let's put that back in there. Maybe we'll go ahead and try to see if we can snap the key. See if it'll work. I doubt it will. It's pretty gummy. But that's pretty much all there is. These are interesting pins, and they are kind of bull-nosed too. Kind of like the ones we did last time, the Westlock, you know, where they're rounded. Kind of rounded on there. There's not really much of a chamfer. Let me see if I can see that chamfer. Anyways, and so I wonder, I bet you just kind of yank it over. Man, that'd be crazy. So let's put that back on, and there's a pretty good size ring on here, so you gotta chase kind of quick. We'll see what happens. Probably screw it up. Okay, I got her. Drop her in. I'm going to try this. Okay, so there's that. And we'll put this back in here. It doesn't really say on that package how hard to do that, so we're going to, and I always kind of adjust this a little bit. Try to get a little bit more of a, I'm just tapping on this to close it up just a little bit. And we will, you can drop it top and bottom. There is a little flat spot on here, so we'll do it at the bottom. It looks like they prefer it at the bottom. I think that's where it come off. And you know, people don't know, there is a way, like with washers, to put these on, and it's something that machinists, a lot of machinists know this, a lot of people don't know, but when your metal's stamped, it's always round on one side, and the other side's kind of a sharper. And they say you always, you know, use the sharper, the flatter side up against something and use the rounded side up. Even on a washer, you know, if you use that bolt in the washer, the rounded part should be up. And so a lot of people don't realize that. And, you know, I mean, it doesn't really matter. I don't personally think it's one of those things you don't really know the design, how they're set up to do that. So anyways, so that's back on there. So, and that is back the way it's supposed to be. Gummy. Well, let's see what happens if I try to force that. Yeah. And I don't have my hand thing on to see. I don't think so. Maybe they did something. Maybe it's already been gone through and done something, but, you know, there was no PK balls in there. You know, sometimes you'll see the plug will have the little holes next to it, and you usually find like 3 of those little big little BBs in there. There is no way that's snapping. Nope. So I don't know what those directions are saying. Some of the old timers that watch this stuff will probably know. They can tell me. And it says right there, if you lose key number 1 or wish to change your lock combination, simply insert key number 2 in the lock and turn clockwise. Turn clockwise. So, so that's turning clockwise. Yeah, I don't even have the grip though. I got arthritis pretty bad, but yeah, I don't know. They must have done something inside there, so it doesn't really tell you much more about that. It is a pretty cool product. And I like the cool packaging. That is so 70s. not so much 80s, maybe early 80s, like more 70s. So turn clockwise, and maybe someone's already done this. Yeah, I don't know, because I don't know how much pressure you want to put on a key like that. Anyways, it could be you do that, and when you looked at those pins, how much distance that was from the top. I bet that is. Let me see. So that is a 346 36A, 346 36A, and let's see, 467. So it's one up, two up, one up, two up, and then three up. So it's quite a bit different. So I don't know if you had a penny kit, what that would really, if you do the math, see, kind of interesting. I don't know. So if you can see that, I don't know if that's coming through okay. So there's your numbers. That's your two different sets. So anyways, and that's the same as this. But I thought maybe you can tell from the bitting, maybe it's like two higher, but it's the original is one higher on the first digit, two higher in the second digit, one higher on the third, and then two higher in the second, and then three higher on the last. So I thought maybe it was just maybe possible one digit off, one cut off, and then when you snap it, you're just basically everything is like one digit off, but it didn't really seem that way. So anyways, we'll put it back together. So there's that. This does feel like I've seen Master and has locks kind of like these too, where they felt nice and heavy. It's kind of interesting. This wasn't all the way in the hole; it didn't pop out on there, so maybe I can do that. And I'll need to put that in there. You want that tailpiece, and when you turn that key in there, what you're doing is you're basically giving it room for this little tent in there to get out of the way, to be able to push it in. Because when you're pushing that in, what you're doing is you're pushing that right there. And so that's how it gives it place to go. So all right, so let's get back on track here. So right there, get it started. They kind of let you push it up onto this so the tailpiece is in that bar. And in order to get it past, you're going to have to slide it in. So, use a key at that point. So, I'll see if I can do this. It's weird, it only wants to go the one way. Let me see here. Pretty hard to do. There it goes. And past. It's weird that it doesn't let it drop out. So let me see if I can push it just a little bit where I'm just trying to see if I can get it to where it will allow it to pop into that. I think it's this piece here anyways. And that's spun on me. That's probably part of the problem right there. Okay, so it's through the knob, the temp end, but it's not through this rose. And that's not a big deal. It's good enough. Okay, if you move that rose in, it goes in just fine. This feels like a really nice knob. And I know, if you can see this part here, see if my camera's seeing. If you see all these little components in here, you can actually take this whole spring guard apart. In fact, if you want, let's just do it real quick. Interesting. Take that off. That's another detent. So I probably don't want to do this. I'm probably going to be a mess, but well, see what's in there. It's probably just a couple big springs. This is where you're getting the good stuff. So there's that, and let me use this one. And this is where you could probably get in trouble. Get that out of there. I don't have the finger strength anymore to do this. So this is where you can wind up in trouble. So let me see what'll happen. Sometimes they're bent over, and you can kind of see they're bent. You're going to have to bend them out a little bit. Straighten them out to where you can get them off. Chances are you'll never go through this, but just thought it'd be kind of fun. And I'm probably not going to be able to do it. I don't have the hand strength to do this. There it goes. And I'm hitting the detent. So there's that. So there's your big springs. And you know, some knobs you'll wear down, you'll break those springs in there. I don't think I need to go any further than that. You just kind of look at that old grease. Wow. And so you would have to spin this around. See right there. It might pop up right there. I don't know if I want to do that right here at this point. There's a detent right there too. So I don't know if you can see. There's your guts inside there. There is a spring, two of them right here and there. And you can take this apart, you just pull this off. Sometimes you got to spin it. And I'm not going to go too far. It's kind of hard to do this on camera, but you get too far in there, you're going to get lost. And it's one of those things, if you're on a job, yeah, I'll take it apart and do what I got to do. But it's, you know, it is literally how you get to those springs. If this fails, to where no matter what you did, it would not, you know, return like that, then you know it's those springs, or you can lube. But sometimes those springs will break, and this is brand new, so those springs aren't broke. But you just pop this off with a screwdriver and just keep getting your way in there. And now you may have to turn this, you know, pull that down enough to turn it. It's cramped my hand now. But anyways, this really does feel like a pretty good solid lock. It's too bad that they don't make it anymore, unfortunately. But so anyways, I'm going to put that back. There's no point in getting too far in there. I'm going to get myself in trouble. And that is the other side, is you need there's a detent right there you're going to have to get over. So let's see if I can get over that. That is the one side of that. So that's where you take your little tool and see if you can fit in there. There you go. Get right in the right spot. Got to line up all these little slots on here. And Harloc, pretty interesting lock. I like it. It's actually, I'm pretty impressed with the robustness of it. I'm probably going to have to tap on this a little bit. And here's where you wind up with trouble. Push down on this. Getting there. Yeah. There. It's starting to go. One of those tabs has not been in all the way. See if I can push that over while it's on there. And this is what you run into. You start taking the things apart. That ain't no biggie. It's not like I had 100 pieces fly all over the place. What I have is a couple of these little springs, or these little tabs. And I messed up. Let me see if I can get that back down. And it's pretty close. I just gotta get it down. So let me see here. I may fast forward this or cut this out if I don't get it on pretty quick, because it's going to be kind of irritating for you. I have to see all this. I can see where it's having a hard time getting in there. Bend that and that. Sometimes you can get on the back. Might be able to get started easier. Pretty interesting design though. I mean, I really do like this. Okay. Well, we'll just do this. Bend them. So you can see that's bent that way. So let's bend that just that. Ooh. Yep. Arthritis. Okay, so let me bend that tab just a little bit. Yeah. Sucks getting old. Alright, so okay. I bent that just a little bit. Hopefully I got me with that little hump right there. I got bones dislocating in my thumb, and that's why every now and then it feels like, you know, you're getting shocked in there. Yeah, it's life. So let me get that over that tab. I'm sorry. Hopefully I don't have to take you all through this. Okay, we got it. Alright. Alright, there you go. And so this goes here. And that one goes down the other side. You don't need to see all this. I'll probably leave it in. You can buzz out if you feel like you're bored watching this stuff. This is kind of fun for me. It's kind of like, you know, my go-to stuff I enjoy, and it's probably boring to most people. Just like lock sports is interesting to some people. You know, I like the mechanical side of things. I have a couple of, well, I think there's 4 books, and it's oh, about mechanical movements, and it's all kinds of cool, interesting mechanical inventions, and just it's the concepts of how mechanical inventions work. I'll have to put a picture of what the books look like. Anyways, I had all 4 volumes, and I actually used a lot of those designs at Harley. I'm just trying to push this pen through here, and then hold it in before you try to push that out. Okay, now we're good on that. And then we put that back on here, and that's no big deal. So the one side threads, this side here threads, and that's how you get your width on your door. So this will go pretty wide. And so I can actually pull the key out there, put this knob on here, and we're in like Flynn. I know I would say that, but there you go. And that's it. That really does feel like a robust knob. I really do like this. It is a really nice knob. I would put that up against any Schlage or Master today. That is a really nice knob. And it's too bad it's gone. And I'm talking, these would probably be grade 2. I'll have to look. It doesn't really say what grade they are, but there's no way this is grade 3. I can tell you right now. I bet this is every bit of grade 2. It does feel like a heavy duty knob, and it says a UL 3-hour fire rating. So I don't know. They didn't really do grades back then, but that's it. That's Harloc, HARLOC, and like I said, this doesn't really cover Harloc, and neither did my other book. It covered Harloc, but not that particular one, and it's kind of odd that it went like that. And it has different keyways according to this one. I don't think mine does, but mine is SC1. But they have I've not seen any designs like this with this, and even now that'd be residential, And when they do a latch like this, that's more of a commercial, grade 2 or better, grade 1, grade 2 latch. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Hopefully the audio's better on this, and hopefully you could see better on this. If you ever come across a Harloc, for this model, it's every bit just like a regular Schlage, a better version of Schlage, like a commercial, or Master. Master does make. It used to make really good products. I don't know, the residential, they just kind of backed off from some of it, but American and Master, they're kind of together, but Master Lock with their residential, I've sold a lot of them over the years, and I like them. They have the night watch, the night latch, where you can pull the thumb turn out, and it would make it so the keys wouldn't work. In fact, this here has that night watch. And so I don't know if the camera's picking that up, that's a light glare. But what happens is once you lock it, you push that little button in there, and then you pull that out. And then you have like a little red indicator. And there's no key or nothing on the outside that would work. It's just an old master deadbolt. But anyways, there's no way to pick it. And the only way in now is to drill it. There's just no way. And so, or, find some way to bypass the bolt or bust the window. But once you push that back in, then it works again. But that's night watch. And I do miss that. Excuse me for bumping that camera. But anyways, the night watch was a pretty good product, I think. There were times where that thumb turn would actually, the thumb button would pop off, and I'll show you what happens is there's a set screw right here, and sometimes, and I had a little baggie of extra set screws, they were lost. Sometimes these would get loose, on there, and feel kind of sloppy. People kind of getting nervous about it, but that's Master. Anyways, this does remind me of Master, and or the Schlage. The cylindrical design is more robust. It's a better design than the tubular, where everything is built into this. And the Westlock, I had more of a cage, a cast cage, which was pretty nice. And it had some springs inside there too on that Westlock in my last video. But, this is about as good as it gets. You can put stiffer springs. Take those 2 big springs out. You can stretch them out a little bit, to make them a little bit stiffer. Because what you really hate, and you don't see it on the knobs, but with the lever is sometimes the lever will be hanging, you know, and you can stiffen these springs up on something like that. Where those other ones, you're kind of screwed. So anyways, hey, thank you all for watching, and have a good day, night, whatever you are at. And, you know, please like and subscribe if you enjoy seeing these videos. This is just, I'm trying to do vintage series. I still got National we're going to go over. And that's National's another. I got Seagull. I got an Ideal Security deadbolt we're going to go over. It's very unusual. So anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.
Lingo.